Welcome back, everybody. Thank you again for joining me here. I am back a lot sooner than typical and sooner than I expected, but I had the free time today. I am still sick, so I figured I'd go ahead and power through my illness and try to show off our bar, which is really just a fancy way of saying this is the warehouse space that we use to store our alcohol, and we decorated it to look like a bar, which is pretty on course for how I do things around here. So if you're new here, buckle up and get ready. If you're consistent viewer, welcome back. Thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate all the support, interaction. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if anything that we talk about here helps you or was of interest to you. I do tend to ramble a lot, so if there's anything that you are not interested in me talking about, feel free to skip around up to the parts that do catch your attention. I will not be offended whatsoever. Today's focus, again, is going to be our bar, which I'm sitting in the patio space of. The reason for this bar existing is because this space that I'm in currently used to be our workshop that was outside the back of our house. Since the workshop has been expanded and scaled up, we had to move it from this area, and so we was left with this giant empty space, which has been repurposed into the chessboard off to my left, y'all's right, and then also there's a pool directly behind me that you can't see, which are really not the focus of today's videos. You might glimpse them in the background or whatever, but today's focus is going to be the building that really used to be our tannery and our textile shop. Now, if you want to go look at the first vintage story video I made, and I think the other video was called the Workshop Showcase, those two tours kind of go over this area, one as a flyby, the other one in a more focused detail. But those areas have now since changed. The tannery is its own building, the textile shop is its own building, the pit kilns have obviously been moved, and the medical tent that was replacing the pit kilns has now also been moved into its own clinic. And then the blacksmith, that was where the chessboard is, has now obviously been moved to its own building as well. So there are future tours, future video showcases I need to do to go over those areas, once again, now that they're all different. But I figured the best way to handle that would be first to go over the bar, because the tannery and the textile shop used to be here. So you can go look at those videos, the prior ones, and get a nice before. And then now, if you want to come back here and watch this one, we can do the present day, the after these renovations, which again, I wanted to do this build in a way that it looked like it was actually renovated and not just this has always been a bar now that we've changed our mind and we don't need this to be a tannery. I did not want it to look like it had always been this space. I want it to look like it used to be the tannery and has now become our bar. So the kiln is still sitting there. There's some barrels still there. The rafters up in the roof and some of the ropes that I use for tannery style decorations are still there, just to kind of tie it into its history. Much like with the construction site, you want to imply a future, and much like with the ruined, downtrodden, dilapidated build from the last video, you want to imply that there is a past. And so one of the ways you can do that is to make it look like, oh, this room obviously used to be something else, and now it is this. Now, I will go ahead and give a disclaimer. It is not so obvious that this used to be a tannery, but some of the stuff from the tannery is still here, and I felt like that was important to do. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and just get right into the video. Again, I'm not even going to fly by to anywhere. I'm not even going to cut this. We're just going to turn around and go right into the bar because we're sitting here right at it. So, really nice transition. Good edit. Thank you, chat. I have two bar signs. Maybe that's redundant. Maybe it's not, but I felt like I wanted to have one that looked like it was the pool hall. And again, this looks like the pool table is just kind of up there with the word bar on it. Has the pool balls and everything. But I also wanted to have the neon sign, which I had to cheat to use the Creative Glow. If there's mods you can get this without cheating. But I really needed to have it, and I made it look like there's copper wiring being plugged into the wall and everything. You had to have the neon bar sign. It's a cliche that was necessary. It's a necessary trope. Out here is the patio space I was sitting on. You have this ashtray that my wife chiseled, and again, the cigarettes are massive, but again, you can't go down one more block for some reason. And then she's got this ice bucket thing that she chiseled with a little butterfly on the side of it. Looks really cool. I like the bottles of alcohol inside. They're quite varied in their branding. And then the awnings are really just a red shingle roof cap. on top of an ebony fence, sitting on top of this table, which renders the table unusable. But I do wish the table could come in different colors of wood, different grains, different stains. I hate that it's always this one type of oak. But again, the Kieran is still here. You got these classic shutters. Again, I have gone over this video's structural build in a different video if you want to go check those out. So I'm trying not to cover that too much because the building itself has not changed, just the purpose of it has. So this is our bar. The actual bar of it kind of has a Tuscan look to it. I also get the same vibe from this book and the candlestick sitting on here. My wife did this corner. I'm very happy with it. The awning was me. I'm not so happy with that. I have since gotten better at doing like canopies and tarps and tents. But this is one of my first attempts. I should probably come back and redo it, in all honesty. But I'm lazy, so here it is. This is a trash can that she chiseled. A little white trash bag to go inside of it, too. And then the karaoke machine with the retro-looking, like, transatlantic accent required microphone sitting next to it. Again, a karaoke machine is anachronistic for the setting of Vintage Story. But considering the fact that Jonas Fawkes has, like, the resonator and the teleporter and a night vision mask, I feel like we can get away with having a karaoke machine amongst the other stuff that we've, plugged in. So take it or leave it. You don't have to do this, but I feel like this was a neat little piece of decoration to have in the bar area. And she also took my fairy lights from the front of the house and re-chiseled them to put them here. I like the zigzag. It's very creative. It's neat. And having this variation to the lighting is way nicer than just having a torch sitting here. Now, again, there is a lantern here, but you know how stupid it would be to have another lantern right here on this wall? I have one up there for the light. I have one right there for the light. Having these fairy lights chiseled right here just is cool ambience and decoration. She chiseled the stools as well, made them match the countertop just so we have a theme going, a little bit of cohesion. And she also chiseled this bench to look the same way to match this table. The red cloth is like a tablecloth or a napkin or something, and then she chiseled the menu and the wine glass and the candlesticks with, again, the creative glow block. The artistic bottle pisses me off because they used to have a red liquid in them, which looks so much better sitting over here, but post 122, for some reason, instead of going the direction I wanted them to, i.e. adding more liquid colors or more bottle colors to the motherfucker, they instead removed the liquid from the bottle entirely. I'm pissed. Fix your game, Nikita. And then she also chiseled food. I guess it's supposed to be sushi, but to me, no, not to make fun of my wife too much, but it kind of just looks like 2 boxes of cigarettes are about to fuck and make a baby cigarette, but I digress. Vending machine that she chiseled, I really love it. I like the pulleys on the side and the gears and stuff. Makes it look more retro. I like how bulky it is. And then, of course, all the different colored treats and stuff that are in there, which some of these kind of look like drugs or something. It looks like something you get at a vending machine in Cyberpunk on some of these items. But then it also has this antenna coming out the top of it, which kind of makes it look like Bender from Futurama. And so I just call this our bending machine and not our vending machine. I'll see myself out. But you can see the inside of the bar from in here, and it's really kind of just an experiment in wall clutter. This is just a room where we can hold alcohol. Go ahead and run all the way over here. Alcohol is stored in here. Other stuff is stored in these crates underneath the cabinets in the kitchen space. But you can see that this is mostly just decoration on the walls. You could have accomplished this and maximized your storage space without having all this decoration. But I felt like this adds culture. This adds, it adds some life to it, some history, some grittiness. And not grittiness in like it's grimy, but grittiness in like, oh, they collect stuff and put stuff up here. Somebody has been operating this bar long enough that it has all these things up on the side of it. And I took a little bit of inspiration, not just from like roadside like dive bars that have weird shit on the walls, but also Cracker Barrel, oddly enough, that just has all kinds of weird stuff on the walls from history and stuff to decorate it. So it basically breaks down into 2 things. Well, 3. You have the paintings, you have the banners, and then you have my chiseled stuff. And the chiseled stuff breaks down into 2 things. You have these, which are posters because they're flat and they're actually chiseled into the wall block itself, and so they have no depth to them. But then you also have the paintings and the signs and my chiseled banners that come off of the wall and have depth and texture to them. So that's one level of things of like the concept to consider. If it's poking out of the wall, it's going to seem heavier. It's going to seem solid. So if you want it to look like a poster, like a flat piece of paper or something, it's probably best to do something like this. The only problem with that is that it could also look like it's painted on, but there's a trick to doing that. Like if you're painting on a brick wall, do you want the bricks to be visible through it, or do you want the paint to be so solid that it's just replacing it? In which case, like if I wanted to have a red circle on a black brick wall, I would have to use red bricks to replace the parts that are painted on, air quotes, so that way the brickness of it can be seen through. Same thing with this wooden floor. If I wanted there to be a stain or something on the floor, I would have to use like oak or kapok planks to chisel the splashes and splatters, so that way the wood grain is still visible underneath. Otherwise, it would look like there's a goop or a thick layer of a liquid on top of it, or that it's painted. So just some things to consider. Like you can't see the mud brick behind these at all. But if there's different colored mud bricks, which unfortunately there's not, but you can use different colored brick, you could simulate that whatever it is not so thick that the brickness is not lost. I hope that makes sense. But just different different posters, and then some signs and paintings. Like I have Got Milk, Dos Equis, the Playboy Bunny. Those kinds of things just add some ambience and history and culture to the building. I also have like a Coca-Cola type cap piece of wall art. Obviously, it's bigger than a real bottle cap, but it's up there to look like a bottle cap that's on the wall. And instead of making it Coca-Cola or even Nuka-Cola from Fallout, because I do have the Fallout jokes going on with Falk's Tech here, I just made it Kapok Cola. Kapok Cola, like the type of wood that's in the game. I'm not sure how that word is pronounced. There's also a dartboard, the resonator, so you can have some music playing in the place, the cabinets, which allow you to put chiseled blocks on them. I just haven't gotten around to like chiseling some darts to put on here for the dartboard. Initially, I was going to use these throwing spheres to be like an actual dart game, but for some reason, post 122, the spears don't actually stick into the dartboard like they did in my game theory video. So that's kind of weird, but it is what it is. The clock is chiseled to forever be at 420. We have a National Geographic magazine cover that is maybe talking about how we came across this saber-toothed cat skull that is sitting on the countertop next to some dark liquor. That's some black alcohol. I'm not sure what that would be. But over here's a lava lamp I chiseled. I just thought that was neat to have. Again, using the creative glow blocks, different colored liquor bottles, custom chiseled cabinetry that looks like it has a shit ton of alcohol in it. Our chiseled rug. My wife's chiseled runner, which I just now noticed has a double block that I'm going to have to fix because that's going to bother the piss out of me. And then obviously the pool table, which I've not talked about, with the pool cues and the billiard balls on it. Loved doing that. This was a pain, but I think it really adds to the space. Again, completely unnecessary. In fact, I would argue this just takes up space that you could use for useful storage of the alcohol, which again is the function of this building. But having a bunch of crates out here would not look as environmentally friendly, for lack of a better phrase, for this setting, as having a pool table. A pool table makes much more sense to be in this environment in real life than for a place that calls itself a bar to have a bunch of crates and chests and barrels just sitting out in the middle. I do have storage for alcohol. It's right in here. And that's enough. Plus there's also the crates for storage of other things. My wife has also chiseled this coffee maker here, which I think looks really neat. And then we got my barrel ring, which is technically 3D because it's taking up this whole block, chiseled on top of a circular wooden shape into the daub wall that looks kind of like a barrel. So in my mind, this looks like this barrel is slotted into a hole in the wall. At least that's what it looks like to me. And then obviously the different banners, just for some, some references and some tongue-in-cheekness and some support. Shelves look like it holds random ingredients or equipment. Some spices over here on this one. This sink is actually a remnant from the tannery, so I just kept it in there, pretty universal. I think having consistent things like faucets and chairs and curtains and things throughout your different builds in an area makes it look like it's part of a union or a unit, like it's cohesive, like it's a shared culture, like there's a community here, and it's not just a bunch of individual builds that just happen to be in proximity to each other, if that makes sense. And then the barrels are hanging up here that don't have taps because like you would take them down and put a tap in it. And maybe these are like different, the banners here are to signify the different flavors or different brands of this liquor. Whereas these banners and the ropes and beams and things are really just up there to occupy that infamous dead space I'm always talking about. I hate having dead space in my ceilings, so making it look like there's structure and some decoration, some busy work, it occupies the space. It literally occupies the space, and it just makes it look better, in my opinion. It looks cluttered. It looks like there's stuff going on. It does look busy, and I feel like that's necessary. I think that's really all there is to talk about, though, guys. Again, it's just an experiment, and what kind of different things can you put on these walls to make them not so boring? And again, I could have made all these cabinets. These could all be crates holding something. Or they could all have a trap door underneath them with a vessel underneath them to actually store alcohol. That might be something I actually go through and actually do. But I feel like it's a lot more ambience to have chiseled bottles of alcohol and a chiseled barrel and this champagne glass or bottle and all this stuff going on. It makes this seem more like a bar. This is probably more useful in a place where you're doing like a role play server or a civilization, or maybe you're just like building something to show off to people. Like, I can't remember his name. Like Cesarles is a YouTuber that does a lot of historically inspired builds and goes through all the chiseling and stuff for them. They do like Neolithic builds, and I think they did a Viking Age house, Zakopane building. So they have a lot of experience doing like historically grounded structures, and they go in a lot more detail with the chiseling and decor than what somebody just playing this game for what it is, a survival game, would probably do. And again, I'm probably doing a lot more than any of y'all would ever need or want to do, but maybe this inspires you to approach some problems differently. Maybe you come up with different solutions. Maybe you wouldn't have thought to make your own barrels, and now you will. Maybe you have a mod that lets you make custom storage vessels, and now you'll make a vessel look like a barrel, and that's where you'll put your wine. And oh my god, how neat is that? Maybe you wouldn't have thought to, put the decor in the wall as opposed to making it a sign. And so now you'll start making some flatter paintings or posters, what have you. And it'll just have some variety to your already really good decoration that you've been doing. Maybe you wouldn't have put a pool table, and now you're going to. Maybe you wouldn't have thought to chisel your own rug, and now you will. Maybe you wouldn't have thought to put this metal strip threshold in between the wood part of the floor and what could be concrete or asphalt or something. Just little bitty details that I feel, just like the smaller details, like if you save a penny, eventually the pennies add up, right? So if you do all these smaller details, these little bits and bombs, these small changes, eventually it culminates into what I feel like is a pretty cool piece of art. Like, this room just feels like it has ambience and culture and life in it. Even though there's no people in here, I could see people being in here. I could hear the music playing. I could hear the pool game being played. I can hear the drinks clattering. The vibe is visible and readable. And I think that is a result of the culmination of these different tricks that I have been learning and trying to utilize, and now also trying to show off and showcase with you. Now, none of this is a one-to-one tutorial. I don't do those. If you want me to do one, like you want me to show you how to make a coffee maker or chisel the barrel, I absolutely will. Just ask and I will oblige. But most of this, and as I've stated in my other videos, is just to show off some of the things that I've done, just to put it in your brain, because maybe you wouldn't have thought to do it without seeing it. Maybe you wouldn't have thought to make fairy lights. Maybe you wouldn't have thought to do a stool for a custom seat, because you can sit on anything in this game. You can sit on anything. All you gotta do is hit the G button, and anything that you've made into a seat can be turned into a seat. And I just think that's neat. But maybe you wouldn't have also thought to, chisel some food sitting out, because you can't just sit down a piece of bread on an item frame like in Minecraft, and you can't just sit down bread and not worry about it because the food will spoil. So maybe you'll want to chisel some things to sit out. Maybe you wouldn't have thought to use this piece of cloth like it's a napkin. Maybe you wouldn't have thought to use the trap doors for shutters. Maybe you wouldn't have thought to, I don't know, make a dartboard or use the cabinets like this. There's all kinds of things that can inspire you, and that's why I constantly recommend to people that you go to the Reddit or the Discord, outside of YouTube, and look at the pictures and screenshots and stuff that people are sharing, because there's a lot of creative people out there who just don't make YouTube videos. It's just not their media format. They just don't do it. They just take a screenshot and they'll post it to Discord or Reddit and say, hey, look at this, and that's all they ever do. And if you don't pick up on that stuff, you miss out on a lot of neat tricks and a lot of really cool builds and chiseled art that will inspire you in your gameplay. Now, again, if you're just doing this like because it's a survival aesthetic, like you just want to be out here with a spear, hunting stuff, building a little log cabin, being a man, I totally get that feel. I like the survival aspect of this game as well. But at a certain point, it does feel necessary to go from surviving to a sense of thriving. And I feel like part of that comes with decorating where you live in. Now, there's always that joke about how, like, bachelors like to live in an apartment with, like, one single folding lawn chair and, like, a cardboard box for an entertainment center. That's fine. Like, totally, no harm, no foul. I've lived that way myself and everything. But, like, this is a video game. You should be, like, what is the point of gathering all these resources and making all these tools and doing all these processes, if not so you have a near unlimited capacity to build and decorate this millions by millions by millions block world that has been generated for you? So maybe you don't need a bar. Maybe it's not necessary. Maybe you don't play with other people and you don't need a congregating point. But maybe you want to make your personal wine storage look like a bar, And I think that's really just kind of what I'm getting at here, because I don't, like I said, you don't have to copy things one-to-one, but anything here that works for you, that inspires you, by all means, steal it, take it, run with it. The only thing I ask is that if you do it exactly how I do it, or if you make it your own, I just want to see it. I like seeing that stuff. That is, I don't know, it's the bee's knees to me. It makes me feel very validated, and it makes me feel like I've contributed in some way. And here's the chessboard, again, which was shown off in the game theory video and some of my Reddit posts. And then here is the pool that has replaced the pit kilns and the medical tent. Again, not the focus of the video, just further serving as more inspiration. And as we wrap up the goodbye here, I've already showed off the building. I will say that I am excited to show off the house again, because the inside of it has been redone a hell of a lot. And then also that area over there has our blacksmith and textile shop and tannery, and then plus there's a factory I still have to show off, and then my wife's library is over there. There's a lot to do. So if there's anything that you see that you want me to do next, let me know. If there's anything that I've already done, either in this video or a different video, that I did not go over in enough detail for you, let me know down in the comments, and I will happily go over it again, maybe even make its own specialized video talking about it. If there's a tutorial you want to see, again, let me know. I haven't done them before, but I'm sure I can make it work. To all those who have returned to me back here to watch this video, thank you all so much. I appreciate your dedication to making sure that I'm able to continue to do this and share these videos with you guys. The feedback, the suggestions for things to build, the interaction, the friendly comments, the educational notes, all that stuff is very welcome and very appreciated. I love all you guys so much. If you're new here and this was your first video, I hope you skipped around and found the parts that were interesting. I hope my rambling wasn't too much. This one didn't have as many jokes or anything in it either. I just really wanted to show off this bar space because it is different than what it used to be. So thank you for walking through that with me, and I'm not sure what the next video will be, but I hope you join me for that one next time as well. Thank you all so much. I love every single one of you motherfuckers. Please stay alive and stay happy.